Long ago, in the forests of ancient Vietnam, there lived a young man named Thach Sanh. He was poor in possessions, but rich in strength and kindness, surviving day by day as a humble woodcutter. Even with a lonely life, Thach Sanh never hardened his heart. He worked honestly, helped when he could, and believed that goodness would one day be repaid. One day, Thach Sanh met a man named Lai Thong. Lai Thong spoke kindly, but his eyes measured strength the way greedy men measure gold. Lai Thong invited Thach Sanh to live with him, pretending they were like brothers. Trusting by nature, Thach Sanh agreed, never imagining that friendship could be used as a trap. At that time, the land was haunted by Chon Tin, a man-eating demon that demanded human sacrifices. Each time it appeared, fear spread faster than any scream. Fearing for his own life, Lai Thong tricked Thach Sanh into guarding the shrine in his place. Thach Sanh accepted, because protecting others mattered more to him than protecting himself. In the cold night, Thach Sanh faced the monster alone. His hands did not shake, because courage isn't the absence of fear, but the decision to stand anyway. With divine strength and unwavering will, Thach Sanh struck Chon Tin down. When silence finally returned, the shrine no longer belonged to darkness. But Lai Thong was not grateful. He was terrified that the truth would expose him. So he stole the victory, tricked Thach Sanh into silence, and ran to claim the reward. At the palace, Lai Thong claimed he was the one who defeated Chan Tin. The court believed him, because the real hero was not there to speak. Not long after, tragedy struck again. A monstrous eagle descended from the sky and seized the princess in a single terrifying moment. Thach Sanh chased the shadow across the land, refusing to let the princess disappear. He drew his bow, focused his breath, and released an arrow that struck true. Following the wounded eagle's trail, Thach Sanh reached a cave hidden deep in the mountains. He stepped inside, knowing that courage often begins where light ends. In the darkness, he found the princess trembling, but still alive. Thach Sanh protected her and led her back toward the entrance, asking for nothing but her safety. Lai Thong appeared again, fearful that Thach Sanh's return would expose his lies. So he sealed the cave with stone, trapping Thach Sanh in darkness and leaving him to disappear. When the princess returned, she carried a strange illness. Traumatized by fear, she became mute, unable to speak a single word, no matter how hard she tried. In the sealed cave, Thach Sanh had no path out and no one to answer his calls. Days passed in silence, and the only thing stronger than the darkness was his patience. In that loneliness, Thach Sanh found a simple lute, almost as if fate had placed it beside him. He held it carefully, not as a weapon, but as a voice when his own could not reach the world. He began to play, and the melody carried something deeper than sound: truth, sorrow, and innocence. It slipped through the stone walls like wind through bamboo, traveling farther than anyone could imagine. When the melody reached the palace, the princess suddenly froze, as if awakened from a nightmare. Her chest tightened, her eyes filled with tears, and the silence that trapped her began to crack. At last, the princess spoke, and her words pointed straight to the truth. Lai Thong's face drained of color as the court realized the hero they praised was a liar. The king sent men to break the seal of stone, and daylight finally returned to Thach Sanh. He stepped out not with anger, but with quiet dignity, because justice had finally arrived. Not long after the truth was revealed, a new threat appeared. Invading forces marched toward the kingdom, confident that fear would open the gates. The court prepared for war, but the king saw something different in Thach Sanh's steadiness, not rage. He asked the young hero to protect the land once more, this time as the kingdom's true champion. To support Thach Sanh and the people, the king brought forth a humble clay pot. It looked ordinary until rice poured endlessly, as if the land itself refused to let its children starve. When the armies finally faced each other, Thach Sanh did not charge with hatred. He lifted the lute, and the first notes fell across the battlefield like a heavy, undeniable truth. The melody struck the enemy's courage at its root. Hands trembled, anger faded, and the will to fight collapsed because their hearts could no longer carry the weight of cruelty. Then Thach Sanh revealed the endless rice pot feeding thousands without fear of emptiness. The invaders realized they were facing a power beyond weapons, a land protected by righteousness and generosity. Seeing the divine lute and the endless rice, the enemy's legs turned weak. Weapons fell, formations shattered, and they fled defeated not by slaughter, but by a spirit they could not break. With the kingdom safe, the court finally honored the true hero. Thach Sanh and the princess were united, not because of stolen glory, but because truth and kindness had endured every test. And so the tale of Thach Sanh lived on through generations. A reminder that real strength is not only the power to strike, but the courage to stay righteous when the world turns dark.